Good afternoon, Mr. Gautam Trivedi. Gautam Trivedi
Hi.
is a co-founder and managing partner of Nepean Capital. He has over 30 years of experience in the Indian and Asian financial industry. In his last role, he was the CEO of Religare Capital Markets, one of India's leading domestic investment banks. There, he pioneered the Great India road trips that conducted channel checks across Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns and villages. Before joining Religare, Gautam Trivedi was a managing director within global banking and markets at Goldman Sachs in India. He served on the board of Goldman Sachs India Private Limited. He moved to India from Goldman Sachs Hong Kong, where he was an executive director in the Asian Equities team. Gautam spent 4 years in the corporate finance and M&A team at Reliance Industries Ltd, India's largest company by market cap. He has also worked at DSP Merrill Lynch, CLSA Asia, and Jardine Fleming Hong Kong. He sits on the board of Collective Artists Networks, Extramarks Education India Private Limited, Landmark Cars Limited, Maddock Films, Raymond Realty, and UFO Movies India Limited. Gautam also sits on the India Advisory Board of the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. All right. It's an honor to have you with us, Mr. Trivedi.
Sure, sure.
So, today we're going to be talking about foreign investments in India. So, what exactly is foreign investment?
Yeah, so India's opened the door for foreign institutional investors, or what we now call FPI, foreign portfolio investors, about almost 30 years ago. And foreign portfolio investors collectively own roughly about $900 billion of India's market cap. India's total market cap being roughly about 5.2, $5.3 trillion. So almost 900 billion or so is today owned by foreign portfolio investors. This is a mark-to-market number.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, why do foreign investors want to invest in India, and why is it such a growing market?
Sure. So foreign portfolio investors basically have been active in India, as I said, for the last 30 years. They look for diversification from their home markets. And India being a high growth market in terms of economic growth, even right now, if you look at it for last year, this year, and the next couple of years, among the larger economies, India clearly has the highest GDP growth rates, ranging from 6.5 to 7%, depending on who you talk to. But these are the ranges of how big uh, the markets these markets are, and it tells you we're still, in terms of India being the fastest growing economy in the world. So as a result, foreign investors want to come and participate in the growth of India. There are over 5,000 listed companies to choose from, and companies that were, let's say, examples of companies that were in their 30 to 40 billion dollar market cap are now reaching $100 billion in market cap. 10 years ago, we had no company that had a market cap of 100 billion. Today, we have five companies that have a market cap of 100 billion. I'm sure that over the next 5 years, we'll have many more companies that will be north of 100 billion in terms of total market cap each.
So, apart from being a high growth market, what else attracts foreign investors to India?
I think the English speaking country. I think the fact is it's easier to connect with Indian companies than, let's say, a Chinese company or other Asian markets where English isn't that well spoken. So if you look at the quality of the annual reports, the quality of the disclosure of Indian companies, they're fantastic and they're world class. And as a result, it's easier for Indian companies and Indian management who speak fluent English to communicate with foreign institutional investors versus you needing an interpreter for some of the other Asian and emerging market economies.
Oh, okay. So which countries invest the most amount of money into India?
I would say it's the United States. The United States clearly is the highest. And again, nobody's broken this up, but I suspect at least 60%, if not more, of the money that's coming through foreign portfolio investors originates from the United States. And when I say foreign portfolio investors, I'm talking about the likes of Fidelity, Capital, BlackRock, Vanguard. Of course, the last two are ETFs, T. Rowe Price. So all of the big American mutual fund companies are directly here. Plus, of course, you have allocations from institutional investors to Asia-based funds who in turn also invest in India. So you've seen a cross-section of investors either coming directly from the US or money being allocated to Asian investors who are running Asia-Pacific money, headquartered in Singapore or Hong Kong, who in turn also are investing in India as part of their overall Asia-Pacific mandate. Uh, the second after that, I think, would be the sovereign wealth funds. So you've seen a lot of money coming in from the Middle East. Increasingly, that's become common. Singapore has been a big investor. Their sovereign wealth fund has been very actively investing in India. So you see a lot of that coming. And increasingly, I'd say private equity funds. So again, that's a different asset class. But private equity funds like Blackstone, Carlyle, Warburg Pincus, TPG, Advent have been extremely active in India and mostly private deals. But over the last few years, they're also participating in PIPE transactions wherein they invest in listed companies.
Okay. So, which sectors in India own the most foreign investment?
Yeah, I think by far the banking sector, because the banking sector is the pulse of any economy. So you've seen bulk of the money come in there. IT services used to be a very big, a very hot sector, did extremely well for the last, I'd say about 25 years. For the first 25 years after foreign investors came in, but over the last 4 to 5 years, the IT services sector hasn't really delivered a great performance for a variety of reasons, which include things like the threat of AI. Of course, now the Trump administration has put in a cap on H-1B visa issuances. So that obviously caps their ability to have more people onshore on the ground. And, so that has clearly been a sector that you've not seen great foreign interest in. But I think there are new emerging sectors, renewable energy, EMS, which is electronic manufacturing services. So interestingly, in India, sectors that didn't exist about 7, 8 years ago are now, increasingly becoming very big. Data centers, again, a very big business. You'll see more companies over the next 5 years listing that are in the data center business.
That's cool. So, what changes has the Indian government made to make it easier for investment to, be done foreign investments in India?
Sure. So I think the Indian government, especially the Modi government over the last 11 years, has been extremely proactive in attracting foreign investors. I think Prime Minister Modi needs to take the full credit for it. He's been a phenomenal brand ambassador of the country, and frankly, getting a company like Apple to start manufacturing iPhones and other products in India for the global market, I think is remarkable. Frankly, that's become the poster child because over the last 12 months, we've seen about $10 billion worth of iPhones being manufactured and exported from India to the world. Of course, some of that production has been consumed in India as well. But the fact is, you are seeing more and more global companies setting up manufacturing facilities here. So, that's a striking example. The iPhone 17, for example, their most latest model, also is produced and sold in India as well as overseas markets.
So, the gift city in Ahmedabad, has that made it easier for foreign investors to invest in India?
Yes, to some extent. Like I said, foreign portfolio investors or FPIs have been investing for the last 30 years. And they have used various other jurisdictions like Cayman, Singapore, Mauritius has been around for more than 30 years. So these are jurisdictions that have been very open to allowing foreign investors to route their investments into emerging markets, not just India. Gift City is a newer phenomenon, and I'm sure that's going to be successful as well. So that's, I guess, ends up being the fourth alternative for foreign investors. Also, you've seen increasingly the Middle Eastern markets, like in Dubai, you have DIFC, and Abu Dhabi, you have ADGM. So we are hearing now of certain funds setting up offices there or setting up structures there, for which they can invest in other emerging markets, including India.
So, what's the difference with the automatic and government route for foreign investment in India? Like,
I'm
is
sorry,
are there
what's the difference between the automatic?
and government route for foreign investment in India?
Well, I think you don't need government approval to invest in India per se. What you do need is a FPI, as in a foreign portfolio investment license, and that license is given by the custodian. So there are certain criteria you need to meet, which are not very difficult and not very onerous, and you usually get that within about 6 to 8 weeks from the time of application, once you've submitted the application. So the custodians like Citi, HSBC, all the local custodians can effectively issue a foreign portfolio license. So it's very simple. Unlike some of the other markets where they're very restrictive, India's been very open to foreign portfolio investment and private equity, both.
So, are there any
And
businesses or areas in India where foreign investment is not allowed?
I think there are limitations on how much foreign portfolio investors can own in defense.
Hmm.
But for the most part, there used to be a time where telecom was limited to, I think about 50%, but that's completely open. There was banking, I think, is limited to 74%, but that's a pretty sizable number. So you'll be surprised to know that banks like HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank are 70% owned by foreign investors. They're Indian banks, but foreigners own, more than two-thirds of these banks. So, uh, it's the Indian economy has been, Indian governments have been very open and liberal to allowing foreign investor ownership in India.
so, how has this foreign ownership and investment affected India's economy? Has it helped or has it been detrimental?
No, it's been extremely helpful. Look at it this way: Indian companies need capital to grow. Okay, India as a country needs capital to grow, and if well, you have a combination of both domestic investors as well as foreign investors who are equally happy to put money to work in India in the right company in the right sectors. So I think they've been, it's had a very positive effect on our countries, and their contribution to our country's growth has been immense. Like I said, foreign portfolio investors own almost over $900 billion of Indian equities. So that's a sizable number.
So, what are some problems that foreign investors may face when investing in the Indian markets?
So, it really depends on the kind of company you're investing in. If it's a large cap, they're fairly liquid. But when you go down the cap curve to mid and small caps, liquidity obviously becomes a concern. But if you're a long-term investor, and if you think, this is giving an example, if you think that the company, which is today has a market cap, throwing a number out, say $200 million, in the next 3 years will become $500 million. Liquidity increases as a result, but some of those issues could be liquidity driven. And I think you're obviously got to be careful what kind of companies you invest in. You have to do your full due diligence, financial analysis, and homework before you put money to work. But what I'm trying to say with that is the information flow in India is so transparent that what's available to foreign investors is the same data and information available to domestic investors. So foreign investors are not necessarily disadvantaged because as per SEBI's rules, every quarter, once the board meetings are over, when you declare results, the results have to be immediately posted on the exchanges. And the companies, if you look at the top, 2,000 companies, the disclosures are phenomenal. They're very, very good and very transparent. So I think when it comes to opportunity, whether you're a foreign investor or a domestic investor, you have access to the same amount of information, and both work equally well.
Okay. So, that brings us to the end of today's episode. And
Sure.
we'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to Mr. Trivedi for joining us. Your insights, experience, and perspective added so much depth to our conversation. We really appreciate your time and the wisdom you shared with us today. It's been an honor having
Sure.
you on the show. Thank you.
Oh, it was great to talk to you guys, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any further queries.